clarifications? Ms. Dinispo?
Chairman, I have two questions for MOE, for the Minister first. I'd like to thank the Minister for assuring us that he supports the need to reimagine education because of the fast and furious changes we are seeing, and that there'll be few sacred cows or stones that he will be willing, be not willing to turn and look at. So may I ask the Minister to provide some details on what's next? So what's next in reimagining education, and how do we get the map to show that indeed the sum can be larger than the parts? And what about things like the stones like PSLE, which we have discussed much in the past, and how to turn, for example, to build on strength of some tuition centers so that parents and families, students do not have to rely so much on tuition centers. So that's my first clarification. The second one is for MOS Xueling. I've three questions. One is, why would students with mild ID with no other conditions, why can't they be included into mainstream schools, for example? So that's one. Number two is, can MOS comment on my request for a joint visioning for SPED schools of the future, and to also ask whether MOE would consider looking into piloting lifelong learning SPED schools, which might improve the landscape and the outcomes for students with SEN needs in SPED schools. Thank you.
Chairman, our starting point is that we have a good education system today. It's not a system that's broken and in need of a complete overhaul. But at the same time, we keep an open mind. We are not satisfied with the status quo. We keep on improving. And we continue to do so by experimenting, trying out new approaches, understanding what works, what doesn't work so well, and then step by step making careful, systematic, effective implementation to improve the system continuously. That's our approach. And year by year, you may not see a lot of change, but in fact, it all adds up when you take a step back. Just think about some of the things that have been happening over the recent years. The emphasis on 21 CCs and CCEs in schools, the change to aptitude-based admissions in universities is a very important step. The broadening of multiple pathways, the change in PSLE scoring system, the removal of streaming and the move to full subject-based banding. These are not done in an ad hoc fashion. They are all part of a coherent reform to make our system better, to make it, to encourage students to pursue their strengths and interests, to instill the joy of learning in every child. And so that's the direction of where we are heading. If you talk about a roadmap, what are we trying to achieve? Basically, we want to continue this effort to instill in every child competencies and skills that will prepare them better for the future. It's an important effort. We want to continue to build diverse and flexible pathways so that we can nurture diverse talents, so that people with differing abilities and strengths can pursue those passions and interests and excel across a whole range of different areas. And we want to uplift every child, providing much more support to the disadvantaged and vulnerable groups, including children with special needs. Those are our priorities, and we will continue to lift every stone, look at every issue, potentially slay a few more sacred cows in order to ensure that we have an excellent education system to bring out the best in every child.
Ms. Xueling.
I thank the member, Ms. Denise Phua, for her clarifications. MOE's overarching goal is to provide quality education for all students with special needs. But this must be balanced with ensuring that they develop education in a setting that best fits their needs. So currently, 80% of our students with special needs are already in mainstream schools, and where there are more specific needs that these children with special needs have, they are then supported in the SPED schools. And earlier I had talked about expanding the range of SPED schools that are available to best fit and best serve the students that we have who have special needs. So that's on the first point. On the second point that Ms. Denise Phua had about lifelong learning, we share her views and her aspirations and belief that our students with special needs should lead meaningful lives, and they should continually upgrade their skills and be active in the community and also contribute to society. With regards to supporting SPED graduates in lifelong learning, both myself as well as my colleague, MOS Gan, have talked about the variety of training supports that is available to our students with special needs. This includes the broad-based training support, such as course fee subsidies and skills future credit for those aged 25 and above. And also, just like my colleague MOS Gan has spoken about, Skills Future Singapore had also worked with SG Enable to roll out more than 30 Skills Future credit-eligible courses that are customized for our fellow friends, residents with special needs students, and they cover areas such as ICT, F&B, and customer service. So we're fully aligned with the thinking that Ms. Denise Phua has, that there should be continuous lifelong learning opportunities for our students with special needs. Thank you.
James Lim.
Thank you, Chair, and I thank the Minister for his considered reply. Let me just start by respectfully disagreeing with the characterization that I'm devaluing the work of our teachers by pointing out the gap filled by private tuition. So let me state for the record, I have tremendous respect for the quality of our teachers and the efforts that they put in, but I think that said, I think we both can agree, even the best and most hardworking teachers will generally be unable to assist their children as much as they would wish if they're hamstrung by heavy loads. So when I call for smaller class sizes, I'm implicitly calling for MOE to provide our teachers with the environment such that their quality may be fully experienced by the teachers because they're not stretched too thinly. And if what we're concerned about is an ability to maximize the impact of these existing high-quality teachers, if we're not going to have an outright reduction in class sizes, perhaps we'll consider supplying teaching aids or assistants to the classrooms teaching the tuition-intensive subjects that I mentioned, namely math and the languages.
Chairman, I thank Associate Professor Lim for acknowledging the hard work and efforts of our educators in schools. I think we are on the same page. Number one, as I said, MOE will continue to ensure that we have a high-quality teaching force and make sure that we have healthy pupil-teacher ratios. Already our ratios today are comparable with OECD standards. So it's not for a lack of teachers. Second, we will do everything we can to support our teachers. Mr. Associate Professor Lim highlighted that because of the heavy loads of the teachers, they may be hamstrung and may not be able to be as effective as they would like. Well, so we will continue to review with all our educators what's the best way to allocate their times across the different areas of work that they do, both in classrooms and outside of classrooms. Bearing in mind that when you make these OECD comparisons, many other countries do not have the same kind of CCA provisions that we have in Singapore. Neither do they have teachers spending time in these areas. I've asked our educators before, would you like to cut back your time on CCAs? And many of them say no, they think they value their time in CCAs because they recognize that this time outside of the classroom is important for holistic development of students. So we will continue this conversation and engagement with our teachers to give them our full support from the MOE HQ and see whatever they need to get their job done. And as I said, to provide holistic learning, teaching and learning for every child.
So Don Wee.
Chairman, I would like to compliment and congratulate MOE and IT management for improving the quality of IT tremendously over the past decade. Like Mr. Eric Chua, I've met many excellent IT youths who help out at my constituency events. And like what Minister Maliki has said, many of these youths lack family support and guidance when they were much younger, and therefore they draw inspiration from their IT teachers. So besides teaching, all these class advisors actually do general management, they facilitate social and financial assistance, they also perform the role of counselor. And moreover, ITs are also admitting more and more students with special needs. So may I ask MOE if it will continue to pump in more resources to alleviate the workload of IT teaching staff by introducing the likes of allied educators or equivalent, because we need happy and effective IT teaching staff to produce happy and effective IT talents. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, first let me thank Mr. Don Wee for his recognition of the effort of ITE teachers in educating our students in ITE. Indeed, ITE performs more than just an education institution. They acknowledge that they have a strong social role in supporting their students, and ITE absorbs and takes in students from diverse background, diverse abilities. And as Mr. Don Wee mentioned, the teachers have done tremendous amount of work in not only just providing training in terms of the skills required by the students to get better outcome in terms of their work, but also the fact that they provide a lot of support emotionally. I've met many of the students, even those who have graduated. They tell me that the one thing that always makes them remember about the IT education is indeed their teachers. And sometimes after they've graduated, after they finish national service, they come back and they want to speak to their teachers to get some career guidance. So thank you so much, Mr. Don Wee, for acknowledging the work of our teachers. Yes, we will continue to look at how best we can support our teachers, and the fact that we are also having more SEN, special education needs students in ITE. We've also been increasing the resources for to support the SEN students. For example, in 2019, we provided ITE with an additional 6 SEN support officers. These are officers that are specifically recruited to help students with special needs, the varying needs of these students. And we've added 6 to augment the resources that ITE had as far as supporting the SEN support office. So this brings the number to about 19 in 2020. We will continue to monitor the learning needs of our ITE students, and we are prepared to enhance the support if necessary, including for our SEN students. For those students who do come from other disadvantaged backgrounds, we also support ITE with socio-emotional counselors to help them with some of the challenges. And today, ITE has got 19 socio-emotional counselors across the 3 colleges. So we will continue to assess, and Mr. Don Wee is absolutely right, many of these students come with very challenging backgrounds. They want to study at the same time. Sometimes they get engaged in part-time employment because of the financial circumstances they are in. We provide financial support for them, and we will continue to help them because we want them to aspire to have higher qualification. As I mentioned earlier, with the curricular structure review, we want all ITE students to aspire to attain their higher NATEC qualification when they enter ITE. One last point I wanted to add is that in recognition of our ITE staff, we have also introduced the ITE Staff Appreciation Day last year for the first time. Last year was on 6 November 2020, and we will recognize the first Friday of November each year as the ITE staff, Poly ITE Staff Appreciation Day, akin to the Teachers' Day, but specifically for our teachers in the IHLs.
Mr. Louis Ng.
Thank you, sir. I thank Minister for sharing that MOE will review the appraisal system, but could I ask specifically whether as part of the review we can look into removing the quotas and the punitive implications of the lower grades? I also thank Minister for changing sacred cows into sacred stones. That's much better, so we don't need to slay the cows anymore.
Mr. Chairman, we've had this discussion with the member, Mr. Louis Ng, before, where he filed some questions on the appraisal system. I've explained that we do have an appraisal system for our teachers. It's part of performance management, and in fact, if you look at literature or you look at education systems around the world, the quality of teachers, as I said before, matters a lot in outcomes, and we are fortunate in Singapore to have capable, motivated, high-quality teachers. The performance management system we have in place supports this. So we will continue to review how the appraisal system can be more effective, can be more supportive of our teachers. The system is aligned with the rest of the civil service, so we will have to do this together with the civil service. But where it comes to some of what Mr. Ng talked about, punitive consequences of getting lower performance grades, that's certainly something that MOE can look at. As I said just now, we have been in discussion with our teachers' unions on this matter, so we will continue to engage them and work with them, taking in their feedback and suggestions to see how the system can be further improved.
Mr. Patrick Tay, would you like to withdraw your amendment?
So I would like to place on record thanks to Minister Lawrence Wong, Minister Maliki Osman, MOS Xueling and MOS Gan Xiao Huang, as well as the MOE staff team for powering this year's COS and also sharing the exciting plans, programs, as we try to ensure the education ecosystem stays really relevant and resilient. I would like to thank our educators, tripartite partners, as well as stakeholders in the education ecosystem, because it's going to get tougher and we really need to stay ahead of the times and, of course, ahead of the curve, particularly with this next normal and a lot of disruption, digitalization, and the drive towards continuing education and training. With that, I beg leave to withdraw my amendment.
Is the honourable member given leave to withdraw the amendment? I think leave of the majority is given, the amendment is withdrawn. The question is that a sum of $13,310,388,800 for head K, send part of the main estimates. As many as of the opinion say aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is that a sum of $530 million for head K, send part of the development estimates. As many as of the opinion say aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.